book before bed. Tonight, we read Thinking, Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. Your mind is not broken. It is simply two minds, learning to be kind to each other. Have you ever caught yourself being a little hard on your own mind? You forget where you put your keys and you sigh. What is wrong with me is all. You make a quick decision and later wonder why you didn't see the obvious thing. You worry late at night about something that, by morning, has shrunk back down to nothing. We treat our mind like a tool that's supposed to be perfect, and when it slips, we blame ourselves. We think we should be more rational, more careful, more in control. But tonight, I want to offer you something gentler. The mind you carry is not flawed. It is doing exactly what it was built to do. It was built over millions of years to keep you safe, to act fast, to make sense of a confusing world with almost no effort at all. So tonight, just for a little while, let's stop scolding it. Let's walk into this book together and meet your own mind the way you'd meet an old friend, with curiosity and with kindness. Let me tell you how this book came to be, because it grew slowly over a whole lifetime. Its author, Daniel Kahneman, was a psychologist, and though he spent his life studying how the mind makes choices, he won, of all things, a prize in economics. That alone tells you something. He spent decades quietly looking at the small ways people decide things, and what he found gently overturned what the world believed about how rational we are. He didn't do this work alone. For most of his life, he worked beside a dear friend, another scientist named Amos Tversky. The two of them would sit in a room for hours, asking each other simple little questions, puzzles about chance, about choosing, about risk. They would laugh, they would argue, they would notice the strange, surprising ways their own minds tripped again and again in exactly the same places. And what they discovered was this: the mistakes our minds make are not random. They are not a sign of stupidity. They follow patterns, quiet, predictable patterns, shared by nearly everyone, by the brilliant and the ordinary alike. There's a lovely picture of the two of them, working. No grand laboratory, no machines, just two friends in a small room with a question and a curiosity, and all the time in the world. They trusted that if their own minds slipped in a certain place, then most minds would slip there too. And they were right. Again and again, they turned their own small mistakes into a quiet map of how all of us think. His friend Amos died before this book was written, and you can feel the tenderness of that loss threaded through its pages. This book is, in a way, the gift of a lifetime of thinking together. One man, late in his life, trying to gather all of it and hand it gently to us. And so it doesn't read like a cold textbook. It reads like a person who spent his whole life loving the human mind, flaws and all, wanting you to love yours too. And the questions it answers are the ones we ask ourselves, quietly, when no one is watching. Why do I do things I know aren't wise? Why does fear feel so much louder than fact? And why is it so very hard to simply see things clearly? So let's begin with the simplest idea in the whole book, the idea everything else rests upon. Kahneman says that inside you there live two ways of thinking. He doesn't claim they are two little people. or two parts of the brain. They are just a simple, kind way to picture what happens inside you all day long. He calls them, plainly, System 1 and System 2. System 1 is fast. It is the thinking that happens without any effort at all. When you hear a sudden sound and turn toward it, that's System 1. When you see a friend's face and know instantly that they're sad, that's System 1. When 2 plus 2 becomes 4 in your mind before you've even tried, that's System 1. It is always running. It never sleeps. It reads the world in an instant and hands you an answer before you've even asked. And System 2 is slow. It is the thinking that takes effort. When you work out a difficult sum, when you fill in a careful form, when you try to hold a stranger's phone number in your head, that is System 2, waking up. It is thoughtful, it is careful, but it is also lazy. It tires easily, and so it would much rather let System 1 handle things. Picture it like this. System 1 is the quick, instinctive friend who always has an opinion right away. And System 2 is the wise, careful friend who could check that opinion, but mostly can't be bothered. And most of the time, that's fine. System 1 is right far more often than it's wrong. It's why you can move through your whole day without thinking very hard at all. You can feel the two of them if you go looking. Think of driving down a quiet, empty road you know well. Your hands steer, your eyes watch, your foot eases the brake, and all the while, you're somewhere else entirely, humming a song, thinking about dinner. That's System 1 doing the driving, so smoothly you don't even notice. And then a child's ball rolls into the road, and suddenly everything sharpens. Your whole attention floods to the moment. That sudden, focused alertness that is System 2, waking with a jolt. One mind carries you effortlessly through the easy stretches. The other rises up, only when it must. And here's the thing worth knowing as you rest tonight. Almost all of your day is run by the fast, easy one. The slow, effortful mind is precious and tired, and it cannot be everywhere at once. So your fast mind fills in the rest, quietly, faithfully, asking nothing of you. But here is where the gentle trouble begins. Because System 2 is so tired, and System 1 is so quick, we let the fast mind run almost everything. And the fast mind, for all its brilliance, has a handful of small, predictable blind spots, little places where it slips. In the same way, nearly every time. Kahneman calls these patterns biases. And the rest of the book is a soft tour of them, not to make you anxious, but so you can meet them and smile and say, there you are again. Let me show you the most quietly powerful one. It's called anchoring. Imagine someone asks you, do you think the tallest tree in the world is more than 1,000 feet tall? And then they ask, well, how tall do you think it is? Your guess will land high. Now imagine they'd asked, is it more than 200 feet? And then, how tall? Your guess would land much lower. Same tree, same you. But the first number, the one they slipped in, quietly pulled your mind toward it, like an anchor dropped into water. And you didn't even feel it happen. This is everywhere. The first price you see shapes what feels expensive. The first thing said in an argument shapes the whole conversation. Your mind doesn't start from nothing. It starts from whatever was nearest and drifts only a little way from there. And there's another one, just as gentle, just as constant. Kahneman calls it availability. We judge how likely something is by how easily it comes to mind. If you've just seen something frightening on the news, danger feels close and everywhere. If you can vividly picture a thing going wrong, it begins to feel likely, even when it almost never happens. The mind mistakes easy to imagine for likely to occur. And this is why we lie awake, frightened of the rare thing, while the ordinary, everyday risks go unnoticed. And there is one more, perhaps the most tender of all, because it shapes so much of what we fear. Kahneman calls it loss aversion. He and his friend discovered something quietly profound about the human heart. The pain of losing something is far sharper than the joy of gaining something of equal worth. Losing 10 coins hurts more than finding 10 coins delights. It isn't even close, and so we cling. We hold tightly to what we have, and we shrink from risk, not because the risk is truly so great, but because the fear of losing looms so much larger in the mind than the hope of gaining ever could. This is why change feels so frightening, so often. Why we stay in the familiar, even when it no longer fits us. The mind is forever guarding the door, afraid of what might be taken, and barely noticing what might be given. And there's a soft comfort in simply seeing this. Because the next time fear of losing something grips you tight in the dark, you can gently remind yourself, my mind always makes the loss feel bigger than it is. It is only doing its ancient job, trying to keep you safe. But you are allowed to loosen your grip just a little. And one more pattern while we're here, because it's one we all know so well. Kahneman calls it the planning fallacy. It's the quiet, hopeful way the mind always believes that this time the task will be quick, that this time we'll get it all done, that tomorrow will somehow hold more hours than today ever does. And then tomorrow comes and runs short, just like always. But notice, this isn't a failing. It's the fast mind's lovely, stubborn optimism. It's the same hope that gets us out of bed at all. So be gentle with it, even as you smile, and quietly give yourself a little more time than it promises. And now we come to the very heart of the book, the single idea that ties it all together. Kahneman gives it a slightly odd name. He calls it, what you see is all there is. It means this: your fast mind builds the whole world out of only the little it can see. It takes the few facts in front of it and it weaves them instantly into a complete and confident story. It doesn't pause to wonder what's missing. It doesn't ask what it doesn't know. It simply takes the small handful of things it has and treats them as the whole truth. This is why first impressions feel so certain. This is why a single fact about a person can make us sure we understand them. This is why we can feel completely confident and be completely wrong at the very same time. The mind isn't lying to you. It's just finishing the picture for you so quickly, so smoothly, that you never see the gaps it filled in. And once you understand this, something softens, because it means that confidence is not the same as truth. The certainty you feel about something is mostly just a sign that your mind has found a story it likes, not that the story is right So when a worry arrives tonight, dressed up as certain doom, you can gently remind yourself, this is just my fast mind, finishing a picture. Out of very little, there is so much it cannot see, and the parts it cannot see are often the parts where everything turns out fine. So how do we live more gently with these two minds? Kahneman doesn't ask us to think hard all day. That would be exhausting and impossible. Instead, he offers something softer, a handful of quiet ways to notice and to be kinder to ourselves. Tonight, I'd like to share 6 of them with you. You can let each one settle softly as you listen. The first is to notice when to slow down. You cannot watch every thought, but you can learn the warning signs. You don't need to question every single thing your fast mind tells you. That would be no way to live. But there are moments that deserve your slow mind. A big decision, a strong, sudden feeling about a person, a choice you can't take back. In those moments, all you have to do is gently pause and ask one soft question. Is this my quick mind talking? Or have I really looked? You don't even need an answer. The pause itself is the whole gift. The pause is where your wiser mind finally gets a chance to speak. And here, before we go further, let your breath join you for a moment. Breathe in slowly and feel your careful, effortful mind soften. Breathe out and let it set down its work. There is nothing to solve in this breath, nothing to decide, just the cool air coming in and the warm air leaving, all on its own. This is the slow mind resting. The second is to befriend your biases, not fight them. They will never leave, and that's all right. Here is something freeing in this book. Kahneman, who studied these tricks of the mind for 50 years, admits he still falls for them. Knowing about a bias does not make you immune to it. And so, the goal was never to become perfect. The goal is simply to recognize the patterns, to feel the anchor pulling and smile, to notice the fear that feels so vivid and gently set it beside the quiet facts. You are not trying to defeat your mind. You are only learning its handwriting, so its little notes no longer fool you so easily. The third is to widen the view. Remember that what you see is not all there is. When a thought arrives feeling final and complete, try gently asking, what might I not be seeing? When you're certain a thing will go badly, ask, what would have to be true for it to go well? You don't do this to argue with yourself. You do it to let a little air and a little light into a picture your mind drew too quickly in the dark. Almost always, the full truth is wider and kinder than the narrow story fear had painted. The fourth is to rest the tired mind. A weary mind is a careless one. This book gently shows us that when we are tired or hungry or drained, our slow, careful mind gives up and lets the fast one run unchecked. We make worse choices when we're depleted. We're harder on ourselves and others. And there's such tenderness in knowing this, because it means that the wisest thing you can do for your own judgment is sometimes simply to rest, to sleep. The decision that feels impossible tonight may feel quite simple in the morning. Not because the problem changed, but because your tired mind finally got to lay its burden down. The fifth is to trust the slow, the boring, the careful. The unglamorous answer is often the true one. Our fast mind loves a vivid story, a dramatic cause, a bold gut feeling. But Kahneman gently shows us that the dull, patient, careful method, the checklist, the slow second look, so often beats the brilliant hunch. There's a quiet peace in this. You don't have to be a genius of instinct. You don't have to trust the loud feeling in your chest. You're allowed to be slow. You're allowed to check. The careful path is not a sign of a weak mind. It is the wisest mind choosing to take its time. The sixth is to be gentle with the certainty of others and of yourself. Once you understand how confidently the mind builds stories out of almost nothing, you begin to hold all certainty a little more lightly. The person who is absolutely sure they're right may simply have a tidy story and no idea what they're missing. And so might you. This doesn't make you cynical. It makes you gentle. You stop needing to win. You stop needing to be certain. You can hold your own opinions warmly, but loosely, like something you're willing to set down if a fuller truth comes along. These six are not tasks to master. They are just gentle ways of seeing. And you'll forget them. Often, your fast mind will run ahead, again and again, and each time, all you have to do is notice and softly come back. Now, perhaps a quiet worry is rising. If my mind is so easily fooled, how can I ever trust myself? If even the expert falls for these tricks, what hope is there for me? It's the gentlest, most human question, and the book answers it with great tenderness. Because the point was never that you cannot trust your mind. Your fast mind is a marvel. It is right far more often than it is wrong. It lets you love and laugh and read a room and know a friend's heart in a glance. You could not survive a single day without it. The book is not asking you to distrust yourself. It is only asking you to know yourself, to understand which kind of moment calls for the quick mind and which calls for the slow. And there's something even kinder hidden here. When you understand that everyone's mind works this way, you become softer with everyone. The friend who reacted too fast, the stranger who judged too soon, the version of you who made a choice you now regret. None of them were foolish. They were all just human minds doing the very thing human minds do. And that understanding is a kind of forgiveness for them and at last for yourself. Now I want to share with you the deepest, most moving idea in the whole book. It comes near the end, and it's not about decisions at all. It's about happiness and about who you really are. Kahneman noticed something strange. He found that there are, in a sense, two of you. He calls one the experiencing self, and the other the remembering self. The experiencing self is the you who lives your life, moment by moment, the you who is here, right now, feeling the warmth of the blanket, hearing the quiet of the room. This self only ever lives in the present. Most of its moments are simply lived and then gently let go and forgotten. And the remembering self is the you who keeps the story, the one who looks back afterward and decides, that was a good day, that was a hard year, that holiday was wonderful. This is the self that makes the memories and tells the tale of your life to yourself. And here is the strange and tender thing he discovered. These two selves do not agree. They want different things. The remembering self does not add up all your moments. It does not care how long something pleasant lasted. Instead, it remembers mostly two things: the most intense moment and the way it ended. A long, gentle, happy stretch, ending on a sour note, is remembered as unhappy. A hard experience, ending in relief and warmth, is remembered with fondness. The story is shaped by its peaks and its endings, not by the quiet hours in between. Think of a long, lovely holiday that ended with one frustrating, rushed day at the airport. Often, that last sour hour colors the whole memory, and we forget the many sweet days before it. It isn't fair, but it's how the remembering self works. It keeps the highlights and the final note, and quietly lets the rest go. And once you know this, you can hold your own memories more gently. You can forgive a good time for ending badly, and you can let the quiet, ordinary happiness of your days count for more than the remembering self ever gives it credit for. And this changes how you might hold your own life, because so much of our worry is the remembering self, anxious about the story. Will this have been a good life? Will I look back and be glad? But your experiencing self, the one who is actually alive right now, asks for so much less. It only asks to be here, to feel this breath, to rest in this moment, which is, in truth, the only place you have ever lived. So before we end tonight, let's gently bring this home into ordinary life. In the choices you face, you no longer have to demand perfection of yourself. You can simply ask, is this a quick mind moment or a slow mind one? And in the small ones, let your fast mind fly. And in the great ones, give yourself the gift of a pause and a night's sleep before you decide. In how you treat yourself, you can lay down the old habit of blame. When you slip, when you forget, when you fall for the same trick again, you can remember this is just a human mind doing what human minds do. There is nothing wrong with you. There never was. And in how you remember your days, you can gently loosen your grip on the story. You don't have to make every day a triumph for the remembering self. You only have to live this one quiet moment. Well, and then the next. The good life is not a perfect tale told at the end. It is a long string of ordinary nows, mostly forgotten. And that is perfectly all right. We've talked about a great deal tonight. Two minds, fast and slow. The little anchors and fears that tug at us. The stories our minds finish for us. Out of almost nothing, and the two selves, the one who lives and the one who remembers. And maybe some of it felt like a lot to hold. That's all right. You don't have to remember any of it. You don't have to become a perfect thinker. This book is like a wise, patient friend who only wants you to know that your mind is not your enemy. It is doing its best for you, every moment, exactly as it was made to. And the more gently you understand it, the more peace you will find. So let me leave you with one last simple practice. Gently set down every thought about this book. Let System 2 rest. There is nothing to figure out now, nothing to decide, nothing to solve, and just feel your breath. Notice how it moves, all on its own, without any thinking at all. This is your fast mind, at its kindest, keeping you alive, asking nothing of you. Listen to the sounds of the night, Maybe a car, far away. Maybe a faint hum. Maybe just a deep, soft silence. Your mind is not racing now. It is simply resting beside you. And feel your body now, held by the bed beneath you, tenderly supported, warm and heavy. Your experiencing self is here, only here, in this single, quiet moment, which is enough. There is nothing to think through tonight, no decision waiting, no story to get right. There is only now, and your slow, gentle breath, and the soft, kind machinery of a mind that has carried you safely all the way to this moment of rest. Tomorrow, your quick mind will run ahead again. You'll worry and judge and decide too fast again. And that's okay. Don't blame yourself. Just notice it and gently come back. That's all. Every noticing is a small kindness to your own beautiful, imperfect mind. Good night. Thank you for being here with me tonight. May you rest in the quiet of this moment and find your way back to the peace inside you. I'll see you with the next book